This is an RNZ podcast.
Welcome to this week's The Long Way Home. As always, thank you for tuning in. I trust you might find something in here to enjoy, be it the people I meet or my little random musings. Make sure you let your friends know, your family, people overseas, if they like tuning in to see what's going on in New Zealand. Let them know this is happening, The Long Way Home, here on Radio New Zealand. So time code, it's Saturday, 24th something. Really don't know the date, but something like the 24th of February. Here I am sitting at the Bay of Many Coves campsite. And it's just a shelter, cool little wooden shelter with a dunny, a long drop up there, and a couple of campsites in the bush, and one out here in the clearing. Beautiful views out to the Bay of Many Coves, of course, in Queen Charlotte Sound. Thought I was going to be here on my own, and suddenly this dude rocks up on a bike. So he cycled where I've just been walking. His name is Kevin. G'day, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
All good. So now where are you from?
From the United States, from living in Portland, Oregon right now.
And you're doing like a sprint through the country, eh?
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have to quit my job to get out here, but so I've got about a month, just about 4 weeks or so, and just wanted to see as much of the country as I could and do as much riding as I could as well. So yeah, it's a pretty tight schedule, but yeah, it's been great so far.
You've been getting acquainted with some of our local pests.
Yeah, well, last night, I felt really bad. I didn't want to wake you up, but there was I had left some of my stuff out on the table and whatnot, and it wasn't really, everything was sealed for the most part, and I didn't really think it was going to be a problem to leave it out like that. And there was a possum that I noticed first. He was on the table, and he was just kind of investigating my bags and whatnot, and I just kind of shooed him away and thought that was the rest of it. But he actually, later in the night, he climbed up onto my bike. He opened up one of the compartments and he ate about 3 or 4 of my muesli bars. I just saw him just, eating there, and he actually took a poop right up on the table right next to it. So, and then just finally had to shoo him away with one of my shoes. That was interesting.
Do you think him taking a poop on the table next to where he's just eating your food is him making a statement saying, come on, what are you going to do about it? Or
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was marking his territory. He was showing me that this is his shelter, and he's going to eat as many muesli bars as he wants.
Where do you find the volume control on a cicada? Rowdy buggers. So I took off Queen Charlotte track this morning, Kevin on his bike. I actually picked up his water bottle. He lost both his water bottles as he was flying along. He'd put them in these new little holders, and he lost them, and I saw one and put it in my pouch. And he came back, sure enough, and I've given him his water bottle. Just beyond saying goodbye to Kevin again, as he was flying. He must have nearly hit you guys.
Yeah, it was a little scary.
A little close.
Yeah.
So I've met up with 2 hikers coming north. My first interaction with northbound Te Araroa hikers. You want to introduce yourselves?
Sure, my name's Chelsea. I'm from Alaska.
Whoa!
And Evan from Washington State.
What time did you start from Bluff? What date?
January 4th.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're nearly at the top of the South Island, and
Yeah.
you said you want to stretch it out because you don't want to get to the city and have to spend too much time in the city. But
Yeah.
is it partly because you're just enjoying the trail as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just love being immersed in nature as much as we can.
Mm-hmm. Kind of wish we had lived in the Richmond Range though for a week or two.
longer, because
Yeah.
we were pushing through it because of the cyclone. So we did it like in really 4
Yeah.
days, and it was too much.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I'm a bit freaked out about Richmond Range, like the Te Araroas and the North Island, and Richmond Range. Me not being a tramper, I've been reading about them and going, So was it cool? Was it?
Oh,
No,
it's beautiful.
absolutely.
I love being above tree line. That's
Yeah.
totally my jam. It's so.
And we once kind of ran out of water up on a high ridge. It was late in the evening, and we saw, I think it might be some of the taw or some of the goats
Right.
up, and then it was two black adults with a little white baby, and then they kind of darted off, and then I was able to follow a goat trail down the side of the ridge, and it led straight to a stream.
Whoa, man,
Just went
nice,
straight to the water and
nice.
then packed it back up.
Nice skills.
Yeah.
And you killed the goat and ate it for dinner as well.
Oh
eh?
no! Just admired.
Traverse toute la Nouvelle-Zélande à pied, 3000 km. Tout ce qu'on a fait en Australie avec la voiture, lui à pied, tout ça.
I think what I get was you were just explaining to your brother, weren't you, that I'm walking 3,000 kilometers.
Yes.
So what happened, I'm walking along and I come through, I'm walking in this beautiful section of Queen Charlotte coming towards Anakiwa, and there ahead of me are these two young boys on the trail. It was so cool, like little elves, and walking along the trail, and then a little further ahead of their parents who said they like to walk alone. Yes. What are your names?
Olivier, I'm French.
And Marjorie.
And
Florian.
Florian.
Raphaël.
Raphael, nice. How old are these boys?
7
Tiens,
for
tu
the
veux
big
dire
one.
toi? Quel âge tu as?
7.
And your brother?
Quel âge il a, Raphaël? Dis-le.
5 ans?
4.
4.
4 ans.
It's in New Zealand, his first really
Trek.
tramping.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we are going to continue to go on
continue,
jumping.
yeah.
Because we love
Beautiful.
that. They like
Because they
that.
love that.
Well, that was damn cool. Coming across a French family out walking. Man, 4 years old and 7 years old. Hey. And for 7 months, they're traveling around the world with their children to 7 countries, 1 month each country. Cambodia, Thailand, Philippines, Australia, New Zealand. Quite brilliant. Just to open their eyes, to essentially educate their children. Oh, that was a pretty damn good French accent that I was busting out there to them on the occasional word. And I put that down to Mark Richards. He was a French teacher. I Takapuna grammar when my family had moved. What accent was that? Family had moved to Takapuna from Russell in the late 60s. I went to Takapuna Grammar, where I eventually went on to become the head prefect and captain of the first 15 for 2 years. But I thought, I shouldn't, sounds like I'm boasting, and an AFS student. But Mark Richards, he was the French teacher there, and I was in 3F1 and 4F1. And he was, Frère Jacques, aimez-vous. Just about bloody word perfect French accent. Word perfect French accent that doesn't make bloody sense. Oh no, 1,300 kilometers to go, I'm losing it. Look, I got nothing against you, Ika Maui, North Island. But Te Wai Pounamu, I think Te Wai Pounamu and I are going to get on really, really well. Slogging, I just went off trail to go to Eat Well Lookout. It's been all these handwritten signs. The Queen Charlotte track mixes up private land and everything, so you have to buy a $18 pass, multi-day pass to do the trail as part of the track as part of the Te Araroa trail. And bought that at Punga Cove, where I had a burger and a stout. Whew, lazy lunch till about bloody 4 o'clock, so late takeoff for the last 2.5 hours to get to the Bay of Many Coves campsite where I'm going to doss down tonight. I decided to divert because it is a beautiful blue sky day. So I knew that there would be some view this time, and these handwritten signs saying, "Eat well, look out, views forever." And I must admit it was magnificent. What a climb though. Glad I could doss my pack. I hope I can find the damn thing. Here's my pack lying in the bush. I'm going to chuck it on. There's a sign saying 30 minutes to my campsite, so hi-ho, it's off to camp we go. Just walked a place called Toria to, now we've just stopped at Lochmara, which is one of the bays, one of the resorts here in the amazing Queen Charlotte Sound. I was having a bit of a lunch break at Toria, and it's been fascinating. We've been having a chat. Glenn comes from a fishing background as well, commercial fishing, and also a super yacht skipper. So
well, I grew up in Karitani. My dad was a cray fisherman there. I followed in his footsteps for several years. Met a guy who worked for the Sultan of Brunei on one of his yachts and went and had lunch with him. I didn't ever even heard of a super yacht. Managed to get a job as a deckhand, and just took about 4 or 5 years, I guess, to get to be a skipper on a boat. And you've been doing it for 17 years. Some boats you might work on, they just stay in one place permanently, and the boss might take a bit of a weekend trip over to the Bahamas or something, and just pretty quiet. But we basically roam the whole globe. Yeah.
So do you think there's quite a bit of scope for New Zealand to develop the super yacht tourism inbound market?
Yeah, definitely. It's too far to just come for New Zealand alone. The New Zealand, Australia, and Fiji, pretty much all the boats that come, they do all of that. You won't just come for one place.
Walking towards Anakiwa, and I'm suddenly getting this feeling that the bays I'm looking at over the stretch of water, one of the sections, might be one of the bays that many years ago, when I was at phys ed school, we had a little bit of a road trip, and I came with Robin Mackenzie was her name, part of the J.R. Mackenzie. Robbie, if you're listening to this, I'm spilling the beans. We had a night at their holiday house. Has a tennis court down in front of it, and then into the water. It was just wonderful time there. There was a group of us, and we played strip poker. Once the fair amount of nudity was acquired, we all bolted down across the tennis court and into the water for a nighttime dip in the nude. And no, it wasn't a big sex romp, it was just a swim in the nude. Having consumed some alcohol, I will admit. Them's was the days. G'day, just a little heads up. I'm fast approaching regions of the country in the South Island where reception is going to be a very rare thing, and so my being able to upload audio files is going to be greatly restricted. So I just thought I'd let you know that that's something that may be happening over the next few weeks as I pass through the northern reaches of the Southern Alps into the mountainous and saddles and the valleys of this stunning land. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. This walk is about expressing my gratitude for being born in this land, on this land, and I just want to express as well my gratitude to those of you who take time to listen to The Long Way Home. Truly, it's very humbling. See you next week.
The Long Way Home is produced by Bruce Hopkins and Justin Gregory. That's me. The executive producer is Tim Watkin, and the engineer is Jeremy Veal. Subscribe to every episode of The Long Way Home podcast at Apple Podcasts. You used to know them as iTunes, Radio Public, Spotify, or at radionz.co.nz/series. And while you're there, please rate us. That way more people get to hear these stories. If you go to the Long Way Home webpage at rnz.co.nz, you'll find an interactive map that follows Bruce as he walks Te Araroa. Bruce is also on Twitter at BruceHop, so get in touch if you've got tips, questions, or can offer him a bed, a meal, or just a hot shower somewhere along the way. You can also email him at thelongwayhome@radionz.co.nz. As you heard, Bruce is now heading into some remote country, and there's a tiny chance that from time to time he won't be able to send us any content. Now, if that should happen, there will still be a new episode for you each Monday, and we will catch up with Bruce and his adventures when he's back in an area with better coverage. We promise. Until next time, this is The Long Way Home. Whenua, whakapapa, whānau. Follow us.